I often hear from new clients when we talk about how things are going in their practice and we talk about goals. And many times clients say, I've gotten away from fitness. I've gotten away from my fitness activity because my practice is so consuming, so absorbing that I don't find that I have time to engage in fitness, whatever that might be, whether it be, going to the gym, whether it be running, whether it be, whatever it is, walking. I've had doctors say, I used to really enjoy, going on walks with my spouse, and we'd have a great time together, talking as we walk. And I just find that I've gotten away from that because I feel like the practice is so consuming. Well, I'm going to answer it bluntly, but if you say you don't have time for fitness, I'm going to suggest that you need to make time for your fitness. That needs to be maybe a top priority. Doesn't have to be a lot of activity. It doesn't have to be long form fitness. Our friend Uchi Odiatu, who I've had on the podcast many times, there's some science that comes out of McGill University. You know where McGill is, right?
Yes, yes,
Being a Canadian university. Um,
yes.
and it talks about HIT, the acronym HIT, and it's high intensity training. And Uchi has talked about on Thriving Dentist Show episodes how 10 minutes of very specific high intensity training can have the same value of long format conditioning, of 45 minutes in long format cardio. So it doesn't have to be a lot of time. But I really think that when you're on top of your fitness and you're feeling good physically, remember those endorphins are real. When we're working out, those endorphins are real, and those endorphins can counteract, the cloudy feeling of burnout. So that would be my second tip: is make time in your life for for fitness, and because if you don't have health, you don't have anything. Health is everything. Niren, your thoughts?
Absolutely, Gary. You have rubbed off on me because I know you run every day. You really make this a priority. You just put it at the top of your agenda every day. And so last month and a half, I started doing a few things. One, I made sure that I'm getting 8+ hours of sleep. That's like number one. Two, I work out with a trainer for 30 minutes. He lives close by, so it takes me like an extra 5 minutes to get there, an extra 5 minutes to get back. And we do kind of hit where it's high intensity weight training, and like my heart rate goes up, I let it slow down for a few seconds, and I go to do the next one. And the other thing I started doing that I think is making a huge difference is I sign up for this thing called TM. I don't know if anybody heard of it. It's called Transcendental Meditation. It's just, 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening, and just be with yourself. And that seems to be helping too. Like, it just quietens my mind. So I don't know. I see a difference in my life, and I thought I couldn't stick with it, but I haven't missed, more than a day or two. So I'm pretty proud of myself. And, anyways, just wanted to share that tip, Kerry.
Recently I had thank you, Niren, and I appreciate your thoughts on that. And good for you, man. I bet you're going to find that it's kind of counterintuitive because you're thinking, I don't have time for the fitness.
Yes.
But you find that if you take the time for the fitness, it gives you so much energy when you're working that you can't afford not to make the time for fitness.
Oh, and one last thing I do, I try not to eat after 6 o'clock, as much as possible. So that's the other thing I do.
Couple comments. I had the opportunity recently to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for a DSO Leadership Summit. And our keynote speaker was Pat Bauer. Now, many of you will know that Pat Bauer is the CEO of Heartland Dental Care. And Pat's he's been a friend of mine for, over 30 years. And it was great seeing him again. I hadn't seen him in a little while. It was wonderful seeing him. And he gave a wonderful keynote address to that DSO Leadership Summit. Really cool information. And he was available for some Q&A. And so we did Q&A as the Master of Ceremony. I fielded questions from the audience. And one of the questions was, Pat, how in the world, you've got over 1,700 locations. How in the world do you get everything done? And what a great question, right?
Yeah.
Imagine, Aaron, a CEO having 1,700 locations.
Right.
And he said, well, I'd love to say that I always get everything done. And the answer is that sometimes I fall short, and I do. But he said, one of the things I do is I start my day every morning with fitness, and I spend 45 minutes doing something cardio. And he said, I find that what that does is it brings my energy level up. It allows me to focus, and I'm much more productive during my day. And that's one of the things I'd recommend to everyone. And I'll share that message, indirectly from Pat Bauer. But I want to piggyback on something you said, Aaron, is sleep hygiene. Sleep
Mm,
hygiene. One thing, we are all hyper connected these days, right, with our devices.
yes,
True story?
100%.
Yeah, we're hyper connected. And if you're on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop, on your desktop, getting the light, from the device, that's really not good preparation for sleep, and that's not your best sleep hygiene. So one of the best things you can do is you can have a shut-off period before sleep, and you have to decide what that is. But some experts suggest that 2 hours before, before you go to sleep, just turn all the devices off and not expose yourself to that light, and in turn, better preparing yourself with good sleep hygiene so that you can get a good solid night's sleep. But very, very important, for sure.
That's
Let me
something
go.
I struggle with. And what I started doing recently is I moved my phone chargers away from my bed. So it's you know, like I come downstairs where my working areas. That way, I have to charge it. So I just leave it there and I don't look at it.
And you're not tempted to reach over at the nightstand and check, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us can revisit personally what our sleep hygiene is, and really work on improving that, leading to more, a better night's sleep, for sure.